was never designed to fulfill you. And I know this because I myself have personally lived this. I used to have this little ritual where I would set a goal and reward myself once I achieved it. And it started out really small, like very simple, right? Like achieve a goal, have dessert, right? Go out to a fancy dinner. And then it just had to continue to grow from there. And then the little things had to become bigger, right? The designer shoes, the big vacation, whatever felt like that perfect trophy for hitting the next milestone. And honestly, the first time that I did it, that you do it, it feels amazing, right? I hit that revenue goal and I treated myself to the Louis bag, right? And I had to pull this out of the closet. And guys, I'm not joking when I say I had to literally dust it off. Um, and just thought about what that whole experience was like, and remembering the feelings behind it, like I was finally that woman, the one that made it, that polished, powerful boss energy woman who had arrived. But here's what no one tells us, right? That feeling is, it's so short-lived, that once the bag, the shoes that is in the closet, the trip is over, that high, that endorphin rush, it's gone. It's fleeting. And worse, it didn't take long before I was already thinking about the next goal, the next thing to chase, so that I could feel that again, that for a moment. And, let me know here that I'm not alone, that I'm not the only recovering high achiever that has gone through this. Have you ever rewarded yourself with something, right? Bag, trip, car, house, right? And you felt that high, followed by this weird, strange emptiness inside, right? Type me too if that hits you. And over time, after I experienced this again and again and again, and you think, that's the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over again. You think that one would realize that something has to change, something has to be different, right? I wasn't celebrating my success. I was just using it as a temporary hit to avoid really the deeper truth that no matter how many boxes I checked, I felt an uneasiness inside, because if I stopped achieving, what would happen then? I am quite literally, since I was a little girl, I was collecting achievements like trophies on a shelf, right? Hoping that one of them would finally make me feel whole, make me feel like I had made it. But guess what? No matter what I achieved, the emptiness that I didn't want to admit was still there. And it gets you, like, it plays these mind games like, why am I still unhappy? And guilt sets in for even asking that, right? I had the business. I have an amazing husband, beautiful kids. I have. How dare I want more when I have so much, when I'm blessed with so much? And that's when it hit me that, guys, I didn't need another handbag or a vacation, another digit in my bank account, or trophy of any kind for that matter. I really needed a whole new definition of success. one that wasn't about proving something to the world, but about actually feeling whole, feeling full within myself. But here's what I didn't know when I first started this journey is that it wasn't that I was ungrateful for the beautiful life that I had or the amazing things that I have, right? It wasn't that I was really unfulfilled because the success I was chasing, what I realized that it wasn't mine. It was someone else's definition of success, right? It was society's, it was social media's definition of success. And, since we were little, just little people, we were sold this lie. If you win, if you're perfect enough, you will finally be enough. So what do? We keep running on the achievement treadmill. And I am a runner, right? Quite literally and figuratively for that matter, right? I want to check the box. I want to hit the number, get the milestone, climb that ladder. But then, wait, why was I still feeling so empty? And it's because the target, it just keeps moving. It's exhausting. And we're never taught how to feel full, just how to keep proving to people, right, that we're enough. And I don't know about you, but guys, that is freaking exhausting. It's exhausting when you feel like you have to build this beautiful wall of proof, photos of, think about it, for you Metspa owners, of your new build out of your building, the new device, the big team, the fancy home, the car, speaking on stage, luxury vacations, becoming that trainer, getting that handbag, that designer handbag, whatever it is, right? All of this quote unquote evidence that you are successful, capable, worthy. And yet you still feel like you're chasing something that, because all of that external success, right? It's not you. Your worth has nothing, it has never been in what you've done, but who you are. Will Smith, I heard Will Smith in an interview talk about the cliff top. And I thought that this was such an amazing analogy. I'm curious if you've heard of it. He says, it's the moment that you've made it, in essence, right? That cliff top really can feel, for some, just as dark and disoriented as hitting rock bottom. Now, if you haven't reached the cliff top, you won't get this analogy, right? Because you're like, oh, woe is you, right? Like you have all these things, you have nothing to complain about. But if you have hit that cliff top, this really should resonate with you, because you'll realize that it can feel dark. It can feel very similar to hitting rock bottom, if you will. So when you're on that cliff top, that view, that beautiful view, can feel very hollow inside. And that is exactly, what I experienced a number of years ago. And I remember just thinking to myself, is like, this was supposed to feel good. This was supposed to feel much different than what I am feeling right now. And it can, but what I realized and the work that I had to do is that I really had to turn inward. And when you stop looking for the next thing to achieve and start choosing the next version of you to embody, is when you can move away from that hollowness and emptiness and really embody yourself, and starting to feel full, starting to feel worthy. And so let's talk about, how do you do that, right? We've talked a lot about the feelings, right? And if that's resonating with you, how do we not feel that way? And what I realized is that I had to become self-centered. Now, don't confuse that with selfish, right? But self-centered, meaning centered on yourself, right? Because everyone has really gotten the best of you, your patients, your clients, your team, your family, right? And you're left with these scraps at the end of the day. And that's got to end today. Today, you have to choose you. That is not a weakness. It's not selfish. Really, that is your power. And when you do this, guys, I can only try to impart on what it's done in my own life and the shifts that it's made and really changed everything. So how do you start to feel full, worthy, right? And this is something that I spent a lot of time on in my 30s trying to figure this out. And I would love to share with you, 4 things that made really all the difference in the world for me. And I've spent, tens of thousands of dollars with coaches, and with a therapist to unpack this. And if I can help anyone out there, to, make this transition, I'm happy to impart, what I had to spend a lot of time and do a lot of work to get there. So, one of the first things that I would encourage you to do if you haven't already is get this book, Worthy by Jamie Lee Kerma, because what one of the things that I love so much is really understanding the difference between confidence and worthiness. And there's like 2 chapters in this book of really diving in to the differentiators. In essence, I feel like so many of us spend so much of our life as achievers, doing all the things that help build confidence, but not worthiness. And it just says, I just want to read a quick part in here, that we spend our entire lives focused only on things that build our confidence, not realizing that they have nothing to do with our self-worth, right? So self-worth is internal, deep-rooted belief that we are enough and worthy of love and belonging just as we are. While self-confidence is the assessment of how you compare to the outside world. Evaluate yourself based on your qualities, your skills, and your traits. And those external things can fluctuate throughout your life, where self-worth is believing that you are enough, lovable, valuable innately, and exactly who you are, regardless of how you evaluate your traits, and success at the end of the day. And once that really clicked for me, that was a big, big game changer. So, and guys, don't be afraid that just because, you make this shift that you're going to stop achieving. In fact, I will tell you that once I figured this out, I I only got more successful, right? But the success was no longer at the expense of my happiness. It's a game changer. It's a game changer. All right. Second thing is you gotta audit your life, right? What areas of your life right now that you didn't consciously choose, but are just living by default because someone else said that that's what you are supposed to do. So you gotta ask yourself, did I choose this? Do I want this? Do I actually love this? Am I doing this for me, right? Or for someone else's approval? Because, guys, if it doesn't light you up or bring you peace, it's got to go. It's got to go. The next thing is to define what success means for you. Or maybe now you need, after hearing this, maybe, a light bulb has gone off and maybe you need to redefine what success is, right? Because it can't just be about money or awards, right? And checking boxes, right? Maybe it's about love. Maybe it's about freedom. Maybe it's about peace, right? And what that means for you. So what does that look like, right? If no one was watching, what would your definition of success really look like, right? Again, for you med spa owners, like maybe it's not seeing patients anymore, or maybe it's only seeing patients and not having to work on the business. Maybe it's being able to pick up your kids at 3 p.m., having Fridays off. Maybe it's, only offering something that you actually love and believe in, not just because it pays the bills, right? So what does success look for you and look like? And you want to define it, or you're always going to feel off at the end of the day. The last tip that I would say is that to give yourself permission to make self-centered decisions, right? So think about, what's that one thing that you've been saying yes to out of guilt, or maybe obligation because you felt like you had to, right? What is that? And let's let it go, right? Say, no, thank you. That doesn't work for me. And then when you say it without guilt. Okay. Maybe you have a toxic team member that brings you a lot of revenue, right? Guys, let them go. Let them go. Is it gonna maybe put you back for a little while? Yes, but that toxicity in your team, in your life, what is that worth to you? Maybe you need to turn off your phone, right? And at first, or turn off your email, right? Turn off the comments or the DMs and your social media. Let other people filter those things for you, right? Scary. It's a scary thing. These are all scary things to do. And, the people who truly love you, right, and that are on your team, your side, they don't need you to shrink in order to stay, right? And there's going to be some uncomfortableness in the beginning, right? And not everyone does well with change, but at the end of the day, it's going to allow you to actually show up and serve others more when you first take care of yourself, and that you yourself feels whole first. So those are the 4 things that really help me to feel fulfilled, and frankly, to feel worthy, And I can't tell you, how in the beginning of that work, that it felt like I had to push aside my goals, my achievements, right? And maybe even looked at it as like a weaker thing of just like focusing on feeling, right? Good, the feeling. But guys, I have to tell you that when you do that work, it allows you to show up, not just for yourself, but for other people in such a bigger, better way, that the achievements actually come, and they come at even a higher, bigger level. It's the craziest thing. And until you experience it, you might not believe me, but I can just tell you, because I probably wouldn't have believed me. Before I went through the journey on that myself, right? And that's okay. You don't have to. But if I can share my testimony today to help you take that first step and feeling whole and worthy, and moving away from just stacking trophies and achievements, but still feeling empty and hollow at the end of the day, I hope this can help someone. All right, so I'm going to open up the floor for any questions before we wrap up here. And just thank you so much for giving me this space and this opportunity. I hope that it has resonated with you, and that you can, take an actionable item and, spend some quiet time reflecting on what it is that you need to do to feel whole, to not have that emptiness, right? And question yourself of like, gosh, I should feel so grateful. I should feel so happy because I have all of these things. But if you have that feeling inside of like, why don't I feel better? Why does success isn't what I thought it was going to be? Then it just tells me that you have some work to do. All right, so let's look at some questions that's come in here. So what if I actually like achieving, right? Isn't that fulfilling in itself? And again, this is, I had to go through that journey myself of like, achieving is not a bad thing. It's not a bad word, right? Achievement can be fulfilling, but I would just say that, and maybe you're just not there yet, but only when it's not at the expense of your identity and worth, right? Achievement is awesome, guys. I am still an achiever, but the transition or the turn that has to be made is that it's awesome when it's not it's not the only source of your identity and your worth, right? The goal is to move from chasing that next thing to just choosing, right? I'm in this beautiful place in my life and my business of I'm just choosing what's next versus chasing it. And guys, I just got goosebumps thinking about it because I remember what it felt like to be chasing and what peace you get and freedom you get when you move from chasing to choosing. All right, another question. What if I don't even know what fulfills me anymore? Oh man, I've been there. I've been there. And you to even have the awareness that that's the place that you are in is a great start. And that, you know, that actually the perfect place really to begin is there because most of us have spent such a long time chasing what we were told that we should want that we've forgotten what lights us up or what we do want. So it's got to start with curiosity, right? It's got to start with what makes you lose track of time, what gets you excited and invigorated, what energizes you, what if nobody was watching, would you choose? And I think that's such a great place. And for me, I have to like get in nature. I have to there's a place in Stanley, Idaho that we go camping a couple times a year and I I have to get there because there's no Wi-Fi. There's no me checking in on what's going on at work. And it's the time of year that I have days, not just hours, right? Because I can go on nature walks and whatnot, but then I come back in and I'm in the grind. But having those opportunities where you really have to sit with yourself and your own thoughts and being in nature, and it allows you, and it doesn't happen the first 5 minutes, first hour. Sometimes it doesn't even happen in the first day when I'm without Wi-Fi. But the more time and quiet space that I give myself, like I, it just things just start firing and you start thinking differently. So I encourage you to get in nature, turn off your notifications, turn off your email, turn off your phone. And it's hard to do, but it's worth it. Okay. What approach should I take as we are hiring a new consultant, a new sales consultant in for the front desk? Okay. So give me a little bit more on this question. Are you saying as far as like, how should I even begin the recruitment process? What questions around, can you be more specific here? And might be something, how to incorporate my idea of worthiness. Ooh, okay, great question. So this is one of those things that, I mean, for me and my team, like I don't want them to just be great at work. I want them to be amazing humans. And so, at Diamond, we spend a lot of time talking about our core values and building our culture. And so if worthiness is something that you want to impart on your team, I think a great place to start is looking at what are your core values for your company and how much time and energy are you spending on them. So often than not, companies don't have core values. If they do, they have it in maybe like in their employee handbook, but they never speak about them again. At Diamond, our core values is based around how we reward people and also how we identify learning and teaching moments. When you are providing feedback to your team, try to connect a core value that exhibits that type of behavior or action, and putting those pieces together, I think, is a great start. I also think that, just worthiness in itself is such a beautiful thing, regardless if it's for yourself, for your team, or for your patients at the end of the day. So for you to incorporate that into your brand story, into your vision that you have for your business and for your patients, what a beautiful thing that would be, and really help create that unique advantage behind what you have to offer your team in your patients at the end of the day. Because remember, guys, like, your team, they can work anywhere, right? Your patients, they can go anywhere and get all the same services at 100 people, like different people at the end of the day, right? And so you have to be able to communicate your values, what's important to you, what your vision and mission is for your people, whether that's your staff, or your patients. So I think that around starting with your core values and then thinking about what are consistent ways that you can reinforce those core values is a great place to start. All right. Thank you guys for allowing me this space. I hope that you really think about and what are the next steps, right? So that you don't continue on this path of being successful, but feeling empty at the end of the day, and put into action some of the tips that I shared with you to take yourself to the next level, both personally and professionally. And I know that you know someone in your life that this will resonate with. So please share it. Have a deeper conversation with a trusted, confident person that can hold you accountable, right, for applying these strategies and making a change, because I want you to feel more. I want you to feel better. Life is too short to just be stacking trophies. I want you to feel whole. I want you to feel worthy at the end of the day. All right. Thanks so much for joining me here. And you can catch us next week, same time, same place. Catch us on Facebook, Instagram,